Hey everyone, welcome to homework 2.4. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly and then go back up to some of the classwork to go over anything you may have missed. So it says match each equation with the description of the function it represents. I strongly recommend for this that you read the description on the right first and then look for what matches up with that. So to get the output, add 4 to the input, so that's x plus 4. Then multiply the result by 2, so that means there's going to be a parentheses because I'm multiplying the whole thing by 2. That matches nicely with there. To get the output, add 2 to the input, so x plus 2. This time we're multiplying the result by 4. And so that's this one here. To get the output, multiply the input by 2, so that's 2 times x. Then add 4 to the result. And then last but not least, multiply the input by 4, so 4 times x plus 2. All right. Number 2 says function p presents the perimeter in inches of a square with side length x inches. All right, so this is p of x, and this is x, our x values of input. And remember, a square has the same side length for all sides. They're equal. And so if I have a square with 0, then we will have no perimeter. If I have a square with 1, I will have 4, because I would add 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, or 1 times 4. 2 would be 8, 3 would be 12, 16, 20, 24. Again, the pattern here is I'm multiplying the side length times 4 because there's 4 sides to a square. So write an equation to represent function p. So this would be p of x equals 4x. Sketch a function, a graph of the function. So here, when it is 0, it's 0. When it is 1, it is 4. 2, it is 8. 3, it is 12. 4, 16, 5, 20, 6, 24. And so here we would have a line. So we can say C graph. All right. Functions f and a are defined by these equations. So this is one function, this is the second function. Which function has a greater value when x is 2.5? So to find that out, I'm going to plug in 2.5 for x. So f of 2.5 equals 80 minus 15 times 2.5. And a of 2.5 equals 25 plus 10 times 2.5. And so all you need to do is calculate now and decide which one is greater, f or a. I'll let you work out those calculations yourself. Number 4, an equilateral triangle, which means that all 3 sides are the same, 3 sides of equal length. Function p gives the perimeter of an equilateral triangle of side length s. All right, find p of 2. So perimeter is we're adding up all the sides. In this case, it would be 3 times the side length because there's 3 sides. So p of 2 would be 3 times 2, which equals 6. P of 10 would be 30. And p of s would be 3 times s. Imagine a situation where a person is using a garden hose to fill a child's pool. All right, so if you need to, draw a little pool image. The water is going into the pool, right? Think about the 2 quantities. So the 2 quantities would be the depth of the water in, let's say, inches. It's a pretty small pool. So depth of water in inches, or if you want to be in metric, centimeters is fine, is a function of, well, as the water is being poured in, we would be measuring that over time. So you could say time in. I would probably say in minutes to give the water time to form actual inches. You could do seconds if you're looking at very small increments, maybe centimeters and seconds. But because we're looking at inches, it's going to take a little bit of time to actually get that water up an inch. So let's say time in minutes. And be sure to consider the units of measurement, which we did. I said minutes and inches. You could have said a different measurement if you wanted to. Sketch a possible graph of the function. So the input is the minutes, the time. So this is minutes down here. Minutes elapsed since the water was turned on. And the depth of the water is here in inches. And so a possible graph, it says possible graph, so yours all might look a little bit different. But let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's say that it fills up an inch every minute. You would have a nice steady graph, assuming the flow of the water is steadily flowing into the pool. And so if I want to, it says identify the coordinates of one point. So 3, 3, for example, might be after 3 minutes, there are 3 inches of water. All right, function C gives the cost in dollars of buying N apples. We looked at a similar one today. Which statement best represents the meaning of C of 10 equals 9? So the cost of dollars in buying N apples means that this is the N and this is the cost. So the cost of buying 9 apples, no, it's actually the cost of buying 10 apples. The cost of 9 apples and $10, no, the inverse of that, because the input is the number of apples, the output would be how much it's going to cost. The cost of 10 apples. It is the cost of 10 apples, but we have more information here because we have this equals 9. So 10 apples cost $9 gives us our fullest piece of information here. And lastly, number 7, Diego is baking cookies for a fundraiser. He opens a 5-pound bag of flour and he uses 1.5 pounds. Which equation or inequality represents the amount of flour left? So the amount of flour left would be 5 minus 1.5, which gives us 3.5. And it doesn't say he uses at least or as much as or no more than. It says he uses, so it's an exact amount here. So F would be equals 3.5. And that's just a little review for your equations and inequalities. All right, so see, that was very short. Going back to the classwork, I'm going to go starting from here. We have this roll of paper, and the reason I'm starting from here is because this is the space that people have the most confusion with. So here, this side is 3 feet, which means when I cut the paper, this side over here will also be 3 feet. So if my perimeter is the length plus the length plus the width plus the width, I know that constantly we're going to have 3 plus 3 as part of the perimeter. What we don't know is this side here, right? And so what we're going to do then is let's mark that. You can mark it with a W or you can mark it with an X for the unknown value of that side length. So if we cut 2.5 feet, the perimeter of the paper would be 3 plus 3, because we know that these two sides here are always going to be 3 plus 3. So that's 6 plus 2.5 plus 2.5, or you can write this as 6 plus 2 times 2.5, right? Because adding 2.5 twice is the same as multiplying it by 2, and then we get 11, and we need to say, oh, not inches, see, look, very important, feet. All right. Letter B says complete the table with a perimeter for each given side length. So if I had 1, this would be 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 1 here plus 1 here is going to be 8. 2 would be 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 4 is 10. Okay, and so you may start to see the pattern here is P of X equals 6 plus, right, because no matter what, these, again, these lengths here on the side are always going to be 3. And then what we don't know is x, and there's 2 x's, so 2x. All right, so we can do this one here. 6.3 times 2 will be 12.6 plus 6, 18.6. 11 times 2 is 22. 22 plus 6 is 28. And then L would be 6 plus 2L. So you can also write this as P of L equals 6 plus 2L. Again, I generally try to avoid using L's or I's because it's kind of confusing, but it does tell you here that the side length is L, so we should use it. All right, so P of 11 represents in this situation that the perimeter is 28 inches, or, oh, sorry, I keep saying that, feet, when one side is 11 feet. So when it's cut to 11 feet, we unroll it to 11 feet, then the perimeter is 28 feet. On the coordinate plane, sketch a graph of this function. So all you're doing is plotting those points on this graph here. And it's not going to be exact, right? 1, 8. You can kind of estimate. 2, 10. 3 would be 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 6 is 12. So just about here. And you'll notice this is going up at a constant rate. And so this will have a nice linear function constant here, right? Moving up at a very straight line there. All right, that's all. Your homework code word today will be mug. Mug is your code word for today because that's what I'm looking at. All right, happy homeworking and see you tomorrow.